1962. He came from Hanukkah. He just made the Manachai Rai. He stayed in Tel Aviv and then hotel. So he came to daven in Moshes. He came to Tish. The previous Rebbe, the Meish. So the Rebbe says, sing something of my father. So he sang the Koribon, he says. And the Rebbe was crying like a baby. Like a baby. Then he said, sing something for Yohan. So he matched it, the Manachai, to Yevonim Nikpes V'alai. Because it was Hanukkah. Yevonim Nikpes V'alai, Hazai Bimei Chashmani, Ufatu, Chai Masmi Golai, V'edimu kol hashmani u'min le'gan gangani azanei la'shoshani le'minari ve'shmona chavri'orani. That's how the whole people there, they started singing with him. That year he went to Keva Oros, to his grandparents in Hamburg. And from there, over there, he made Vazecha Chazdaros. He came to Israel. Of course, who's to pick him up? I was there, I was surprised. Nachum Cook, a rabbi, Nachum HaKohen, a Psucha's brother, Chovot, was a good friend of his. He says, I'm coming here to tell you that you have a bris next week. Just a day before Tanya Sester or something. And I'm not going to take a no for an answer. It would be my greatest honor, and it wouldn't shame me. And we'll be there all the high heads of the Beis Dins in Israel. And his father was Chipav Tverya, and so he came, and they made. At that time, you didn't go to make a bris in even in shul now. You made a bris in the house. It's easier. He had like a boy. He after the bris, they washed, and he says, I have a good friend of mine here, Rav Shlomo Karlbach, and I'm asking him to sing for me his own compositions and whatever he wants to. Shlomo got up, talking about like that room with 4 tables from start to finish, and all the big rabbis just all singing there. Started singing, and then they started singing V'zeicha Chazdaros.
Mm-hmm.
I need to leave.
You do?
Yes.
Thank you.
I will see you tomorrow.
Wonderful. Thank
Okay.
you.
We got a lot done today.
Thank you. Great.
Okay.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
And The whole people, there was no dry eye in that room. I'm not talking about women, talking about men. Arab Katz, which was cheaper about Petach Tikva. Nochum's father, big guns of the Rabbanut Arashit in Tel Aviv and in Haifa were there, in Yerushalayim. There was no dry eye. That was something, that was...
So we see some of the stories.
Yeah, what we're doing.
Certain things downstairs. Great.
What else?
It's painful to talk about Shlomo. Listen.
I'll tell you, it's painful to talk. I miss it very much, especially when I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I can't fall asleep, and I'm expecting the phone to ring and tell me,
Right.
where are you, hon?
Well, you know, when we will meet in Gan Eden, we'll continue, each one of us, with our special roles.
I'm hoping that Mashiach will come before that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we will see Shlomo again.
Yeah.
I don't know. According to halakha, according to tradition, I don't know if it will be the same format that we were.
It's either the last or the best, so it's both the last and it can't be. Now, Shlomo said, I heard him on a video saying, you come back the way you served God the most. That's how you come back.
Right.
So Shlomo, that's nobody in the world was ever better than Shlomo, so it can't be anybody else.
Uh-huh. You were here. Oh, no, you weren't here. You weren't here. In 62, you weren't here. I told that story it's in the book of Yitzchak Halberstam. That's the same poem I told you. He was here, Chanukah and poem. So he came to the Rebbe, the Moses Rebbe in poem.
The Moses Rebbe, yeah.
Yeah. So they gave him some cocktails to drink.
Cocktails to drink?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
One was the first one was wine, then was whiskey, then was beer. And did you ever see Shlomo drunk?
No.
I saw you. And he's singing with the guitar, singing. And as long as that's the whole thing, you know something? As long as it was by the Rebbe, the Iras HaKoved that he had for the Moshe Rebbe
Right.
didn't let himself loose.
Right.
He was singing nicely and he was saying prayers nicely. He wasn't
He wasn't drunk.
He was drunk, but he was out.
Right.
After the whole thing, he had a concert in the hall in Tel Aviv. So he went to the concert.
And he was drunk.
He gets up and he starts singing. Arza Alinu, Arza Alinu, Arza Alinu.
What is that?
The old Zionist
A
stuff.
Zionist song?
We the whole area is look. So he said, and then he helped what he did. He was doing it. So Zebish will Purim.
Well, I was supposed to love everybody.
Oh, they were there laughing. He was now Purim here if you go to Yerushalayim before Chatzos,
Right.
that means you have to keep again Nagina,
Right.
and you have to keep the whole poem again.
Right.
He finished already around 11:30,
Okay.
12 o'clock. And he ordered a taxi, and he said, we're going to Yerushalayim. So I said, Shlomo, you're going to have to keep read Megillah again. So what? Came to Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim was dead, like empty streets. Yeah, it was a little chilly, and he's looking. So we went to Shalim, and we stopped a chassid. Where can we read Megillah? By Shomer Amunim. You know, the zebras. And it was like a hole in the wall, and I imagine about 30 to 40 people was there. And then they start davening Ma'ariv. That was way past the Chatzos. And we davened with them, and he said, Al Nisim, and they were reading Megillah. And then he was staying in the King's Hotel. I had to go to Vela's house, Miriam's house. They left me the key. In the morning I get up, I'm groggy. And she says to me, don't forget to bring him to my house, to my hospital. He has to perform for those sick people. So he'll be there, don't worry. No, we went for davening to, where were we? I think it was Shara Chesed. Late davening, late. Late is 9:30, quarter to 10. And then he stops the taxi. Now, the night before, sorry, I have to track back. The night before Purim night, the night before that, he had a concert in Tel Aviv, in Konala Mugabi. It was packed. And he made good money. That's the cassette that was put out without his reshus. When he sings it, eisenstat. And they recorded the whole thing. So he had the manager who was the general manager of Ein Karam, Chassid, Dr. Sachasis. I don't know if you know.
Oh, yeah.
You know him? But he took care of Shlomo. I'll tell you something. He made money on Shlomo, but he took care of Shlomo.
Mm-hmm.
He took a whole bunch of, we're talking about at that time, 6 or 7 thousand lira, which was half an apartment at the time.
Wow.
Yeah,
An apartment.
half an apartment in Yerushalayim. I'm telling you,
Right.
small apartment, was half an apartment. I'm not kidding you.
Right.
Shlomo stops, he has all the money by himself. And I said, Shlomo, be careful what you're doing. Fickle. I'm old enough to know what I'm doing. He takes a taxi. He says to him, how much will you take to drive me around all day today?
Yeah,
So
we know the story.
he gives him a whole...
A big price.
And he took. In where there was the bomb, Kikar, Ben Yehuda and Yaakov. But Kikar Tion, the old place. It was round, and there was a bakery. There was a fruit and vegetable store, and how do you say, a grocery store, and a wine store. He goes from store to store to store to store. How much is everything? Here you take. Goes into the bank on the other side, changes the whole thing to change. Puts it in a bag next to him, packs up the car with Shalach Monas. Now goes back to the beginning of Yerushalayim. Every time he sees a poor man, wine, cake, food, fruits, and he puts his hands into his hands and gives him a whole handful of money. When we finish the whole thing, he goes to Geula, asks where Shiva Chevon lives, and goes from one Shalach Manas. He goes to his cousin who used to sell him books, Shalach Manas. Everybody, the word came out, so everybody saw him. Man, he gave. He never said no, gave. At 1:30, I said to him, Shlomo, you have to be by Miriam's hospital, actually hospital. And he gave Halach. So, okay, he tells the driver, take me here. He takes him there. It's an old building, building, 2 stories. The lower floors are, the upper floors are worse. He takes out his guitar, and they said, no, he goes from bed to bed and starts singing to them, to talk to them. From bed to bed to bed to bed. Meanwhile, I'm going around talking to some people, and all of a sudden he went upstairs and screams, Itako, where's my tape recorder? I said, you left it home? Left it in the stall? No! I have a niggin. So, sing it. I'll remember it. Nah. Started making and he started singing it. And upstairs is people bedridden, and you saw them wiggling their toes and hands as he's singing. And the whole place was rocking. The whole place was like, right? That's finished. He goes home, takes a shower in the hotel, and he decides to go to Gabarach The father, no, the Adam. No, the real McCoy in the middle of Mesholim. He receives him and he puts him on the table, saying, and the place was rocking. You only to smile. Again, and he never stopped. He how do you say that? This poem. And it was the whole. He was blown out. He wasn't drunk. He was drunk on poem.
Yeah.
Mom was drunk on poem. And they sat together next to each other, the Shlomo with him, and you can see his facial expression. When Shlomo started talking to him, like in the beginning I thought, another schlapper that sings. Gefällig. But when Shlomo started telling Torahs, his facial expression changed totally. Jumping from Purim to Purim, I told before, people think that the Baron Kotler threw Shlomo out of the yeshiva. That's a misconception, totally. Shlomo left the yeshiva to go to Lubavitch. And the Baron felt that he was giving a knife in the heart. His best student, his best people that he groomed to be the Rosh Yeshivas, going to Lubavitch. He never forgave Lubavitch for that.
He never forgave Shlomo for it?
No, Lubavitch.
He blamed the Lubavitch.
What a shame.
Shlomo went to Lubavitch and he started being the Rebbe Moyatz, like the secretary, right-hand man. And the Rebbe,
That's what year, 1950?
47, 48.
Was it already that early?
Yeah. 47, because I'll tell you something. Until 1947, Moshe Rebbe was in town. As long as Moshe Rebbe was in town, Shlomo didn't look for another Rebbe. When Moshe Rebbe left town to Israel, he needed someone to talk to. So he went to,
But he left Lakewood already in 47?
Yeah.
So it was later. No?
He passed away, huge Shvat, 1950. What do you want?
Yeah.
The last year, Shlomo was there all the time.
So, but he went 3 years earlier?
Yeah. According to my calculations.
No, it could be that you're right. Shlomo, wait.
Excuse me. Let me tell you something.
Shlomo's born in the beginning of 1925.
25. That's what we know.
Huh?
That we know. He was 2 months. First of all, when he was bar mitzvah, he and his brother finished Shas.
No, I understand all
Hold
that.
on. He came to New York.
Yeah, he learned in Panovich. At the time of his bar mitzvah was in Panovich.
How do you say? He came to New York. He was 13 and a half.
Right.
Almost 14.
They were on their way, so to speak.
No,
They
no.
got stuck in Panovich. That's where his bar mitzvah was, and then they came to New York. Then he went to Torah Vodaas.
Right? He went to the other side for that. His father was the rabbi in young Israel of Crown Heights.
How long was he in Torah Vodaas?
Only for almost 4 years.
Only 4 years. So till it was about
Well,
17.
no. Thanks.
18.
That's what you don't understand. No. The Baron at that time, first of all, he was learning with Shlomo Haimai.
In Torah V'das.
And he's Rabbi totally.
That's right.
Shlomo Haimai sent him to a Baron.
When?
When Rabban came.
When?
41, I think. 42, I don't know.
Okay, Shlomo came to New York in 39.
I'm talking either 40, 41, 42. 40.
While he was still in Torah V'das?
Yeah.
So he was already
Then
learning.
when he started from
He was already learning with him before.
from Torah V'das,
Before they went to Lake.
of course, from Torah V'das, he got hooked to the Moshe Rebbe. Him, there were trio. Lavid Michal Chaim, Benzin Sheker, Moshe Wolfen, and Shlomo. Yeah, and there were a trio that during the summer they were in Camp Mesivta, and the consuls knew if they went around, not to worry. They might with the Moshe Rebbe. So there's no, they didn't go to, hold it or to do something bad. They were the Moshe Rebbe all the time. And the Baron came, started his shurim in his house. He started shurim for 2 classes, 2 of us, and Chofetz Chaim in Queens. Both of them had to take trains to get to the Baron's house.
Where was his house?
Bopa. And he was teaching there. Now, Toyavadas boys,
That was what year? 40, 41?
41. Toyavadas boys didn't want the little Schmendlik to learn with him. They're 18, 19, 17. He's 13, 14. What do you...
Oh, Shlomo, they don't like Shlomo. Shlomo was too young for them. Yeah. Remember that story?
Yeah. The only ones who said, okay, Chofetz Chaim didn't care. Now, the Baron said, Toyavadas boys think they know how to learn, and Chofetz Chaim boys think they understand my learning, but the only one who understands what I'm talking about is the little one, Shlomo.
He told that to everybody?
No, he told it to Shlomo Haimai. Thank you for sending me a gem. He thanked him. Thank you for sending me a gem. So from that point, he groomed him. When the Baron opened up, I think 45 or 46, 45 or 44, he opened up 44 or 45. He opened up Lakewood. Shlomo was one of the first ones there. He left Toyavadas and went there. Now, he didn't want to leave because he wanted to stay. He liked whatever the Baron had to offer. He liked it, but the way of learning that Shlomo Haimai taught it, he didn't want to leave it. He wanted to stick to Shlomo Haimai. And now, so he moved to Lakewood. Lakewood at the time was 15, 20 bachel. Each one knew each other. It was a small house with the dormitory were rooms that were supposed to be bedrooms for the house, and the big room was the best medrash. 1950